Hello, everyone. Kindly mute your microphone, please.
Hello.
Kindly let us all mute our microphones. Thank you. So let me take this opportunity to welcome all of us to this workshop. Kennedy, kindly mute. Okay, so to the organizers of this workshop, Kicks Africa 19 Hub, to our focal point from UNESCO ICPA, Dr. Victoria Kisache, to our SCA partners, all the directors in the house, and all the specialists in the house, all protocols observed. Good afternoon. Welcome to the second Community of Practice workshop. We are here to discuss and to learn from one another. Please feel free to ask questions and also to share from our community, from our country, sorry. My name is Yvonne Boya, male consultant, that is monitoring, evaluation and learning consultant from UNESCO ICPA. I'll just kindly briefly remind us that this is the second session that we're going to have for these communities of practice. We have 6 sessions planned. The first one, we were looking at strategic planning, designing, and development of curriculum, competency-based curriculum. And today we're going to look at teacher professional development in competency-based curriculum. So we have all the experts in the house, and we're really looking forward to learning from one another. So all that said, thank you and feel welcome. I'd like to invite my colleague Gabriel just to take us through today's agenda and also the objectives of the workshop. Welcome. Welcome, Gabriel.
Good morning, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Let me just share my screen. If everyone can see that, I will begin the presentation. So my name is Gabriel McBib with the Kicks Africa 19 Hub. As a friendly refresher on the thinking behind these community practices, we aim to exchange knowledge, regional innovations, evidence, and good practices in implementing learner-centered educational reform. We hope these engagements have joined and have actively engaged in Copano and on WhatsApp. More than 40 new members have joined the Copano platform since last week, and a similar number have joined our WhatsApp group. These tools are used to encourage and sustain conversations amongst participants during and following the sessions, and we're thankful for your engagement and look forward to continuing to connect on these platforms. As a kind reminder, partner representatives who attend 5 of the 6 COP workshops will receive digital certificates issued by UNESCO ICPA. To complement these tools, we would also like to share that UNESCO ICPA contains a digital library of dozens of national and regional curricula, teaching frameworks, and resources. Many are relevant to the discussions we will be having in the workshops and on Compano. The repository helps us manage and provide accessibility to knowledge exchange in these discussions. You can see the existing documents related to areas such as learning assessment systems and teaching and learning, and I will share the link in the chat box after I conclude. To commence today's session,
that we had on Copano, there has been a lot of involvement. So for this session, I think in just quick succession, we would like you as the Given the kindly just let us know what you learned from what we have had in the last week or so. Betty, can you hear me? Okay, Betty not responding. Ann Gatia from Kenya. As we wait for Ann. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Jackie.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Jackie. And I think from the previous session, we were able to learn quite a lot, looking at the model for developing the curriculum for competency-based assessment, and also the types of curriculum. And it was also worth sharing from different countries how they are implementing the competency-based curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I had seen a hand from Joyce.
Yes.
Joyce from Namibia. Joyce, please go ahead.
Yeah, from Uganda.
Okay.
What I have learned is that all countries in Africa, I must dare to say all countries, are making effort to develop and implement competence-based curriculum at various levels. But also I note that the challenges are shared among most African countries, because what is reported in Tanzania, you find it is relevant, applicable in Uganda, it's applicable in these other African countries. So there's a lot that we share in terms of the challenges experienced. Thank you.
Great, so that means we can learn from each other. Geoffrey from Namibia.
One of the things that is very clear is that we find that countries also are at different levels in terms of implementation of competence-based curricula. There are also those that have advanced, and there are also those that are at the earlier stages, presenting very rich, varied experiences that are worth sharing. So this is in itself also a very important ingredient, because you can also learn from others, regardless at what stage you are.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have more time to go through everybody else, but again, with the experiences we can put on Copano as we continue to discuss. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to go straight to our presentation for today. And I have the pleasure of introducing one of the ACA members, Maurice Nkusi, who is going to make the presentation to us on teacher professional development for competency-based education. So Maurice, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I'm busy sharing the screen. I would like also to use this opportunity to thank all the members, the participants who are very busy with Copano, sharing the experience. Really something is going on that platform. So in my presentation, I'm going to focus on how professional development, what we call teacher professional development. And most of the time I mentioned that we always omit the words teacher continuous professional development for the simple reason that this type of activities are ongoing. You can't do it only once. Okay, the objective of this second seminar, at the end of the webinar, participants will be able to comprehend the rationale of designing teacher continuous professional development at school and at national level, establish linkages between professional development and the competency-based curriculum implementation. So we are going to try to put the linkages in between this very important concept in education. So I would like us to quickly look at this image to brainstorm around it, but very quickly, because of the time is really not with us. I would like to find out from the participants to look at this illustration and to let us know what is relevant and useful for today's theme. So the today's theme, I can say, is a teacher continuous professional development and the competency-based curriculum implementation. So look at this image, quickly tell us what do you find is relevant and useful for today's theme. I'm going to use the strategy used by my colleague Jacqueline. If you take long to answer, we'll pick some names from the list. What do you see? What is relevant to what we are going to talk today? Yes, I can't see hands.
Teamwork.
Okay. Teamwork. So teamwork is relevant to the today's theme. Yes, I agree. Yes, what else?
Support, I put in the chat.
Okay, support. So support is taking place during CPD interventions. What else? Sorry?
Discussion.
Discussions. And no, thank you very much for the interventions. And now tell me what is missing in this illustration that is relevant and useful to today's theme. Look at the image. What do you believe should be there in order to represent some of the relevant and important aspects, attributes of CPD?
I think implementation should be the implementation.
Implementation. Wonderful. Yes. I can't see implementation there. Wonderful. Good. Anything missing that is relevant to today's theme? I need to hear more.
There is some in the charts coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, Olive has indicated coaching.
Okay.
Somebody, Nura, has indicated activity as part of what is missing.
So I have a slide here where I combine the initial image and with something that is showing the 7 attributes of a teacher professional development. A sense of necessity, a willingness or readiness to experience anxiety or difficulty. Are people really ready for that? Awareness, looking directly at the problem, effort towards change, hope for change, social support for change. So we'll share more of these 2 images in our virtual session, really to grasp this concept and really invest in terms of time and our expertise to ensure that professional development is taking place in attributes or reasons that may really justify why we are implementing TCPD, addressing the issue of novice teachers. So novice teachers, you know, is a problem. You are coming straight from college. Maybe you spent 2 years looking for a job. Now you got a job, you are in a school. Most of the time you will be a little bit, you will get some issues. Addressing the issue of unqualified teachers, this is a serious problem in most African countries where we're still having teachers. We should not call them teachers but we always had unqualified teachers, and this is a challenge. And also another rationale is to enhance teachers' practice. We know things are changing. The way we are teaching is changing. We have COVID that forced us to do things differently. Now, I would like to find out from you, can you give me one or two other justification that may be added to say that in my country, a TCPD is important because of that specific reason that you are going to add? Any additional justification? Audience, you can come in quickly. Yes, I can see a hand, but I'm not sure. Is Galaxy? Yes, please come in. I can see Betty as well.
Yes, I wanted to say that sometimes when there are changes in the curriculum, then you need to give CPD to the teachers to be able to effectively implement that curriculum.
Okay, so we can say that is to empower teachers to implement new curriculum, okay, or revised and so on. No, that's good. That was Betty. A Galaxy, I can see Galaxy. Of course, that is not the name, it's the name of the machine. Please come in, I can see your hand. Okay, I think Galaxy may not be able. Okay, so that is one justification. I would like a second one so that I can move. Yes, Joyce?
Yes, to deal with challenging topics.
Yeah, I was saying that, you know, teaching or learning is not an event, it is a process. So to have that continuous improvement, we need to do CPD. So one of the justifications would be for continuous improvement.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, now, let's talk about the role of CPDs. What can CPD actually support education in order to implement the CBC? Okay, so here I'm providing only two roles that CPD can play in our education system, supporting school reform and staff development. And that was also highlighted earlier where one of our colleagues, and this Joyce, said that learning is not the event, is a process. And sometimes we need to change or to enhance our education system. CPD can support that. Supporting teachers' learning and refining the pedagogies required in the competency-based curriculum implementation. I would like to hear from you. Give us more role or roles that CPD can role in our education system to enhance curriculum, competency-based curriculum implementation. Any additional role that are really critical to ensure success of CBC?
Notice we have some in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, Bridget says to deal with challenging topics in the curriculum. Blessing says to help teachers cope up with emerging trends and socio-technical changes that may affect curriculum. And Nura says lesson sharing from implementation of competency-based curriculum.
Okay. Something that I forgot to inform the colleagues, but all of you received an email from me where we created a Google Doc where you may capture your notes, and we are going to migrate those notes into Copano, into your e-portfolio. So I believe you are also busy doing it, even though you are doing through the chat. So access that Google document as the email indicated, so you can put your note there, and then we are going to migrate it directly into the Copano. So you will get your own file of the achievement in this series of workshops. Now, thank you very much. Now, let's talk about the framework. So a framework is a document that guides the process of professional development and all the necessary attributes that are in there that may really make the work of educators much easier through the learning process and improvement of skills. So here I'm giving 3 potentials that the framework may suggest in order to get a successful TCPD, to ensure teachers' capabilities to be kept with the current and new development in competency-based education. So teachers need to be on top of the game. They have to be aware of the changes to ensure that teachers maintain and enhance the knowledge and skills they need to facilitate a competency-based curriculum, to help teachers to continue making meaningful contribution to their teams and schools by becoming more effective in the teaching environment. I would like to get more other potentials, attribute of what the framework may suggest in order to get a very successful CPD program at national level or even at continental level. Any other potentials of what frameworks should suggest in order to make CPD more effective to support the curriculum implementation? I can see hands. But colleagues, even if you don't talk, add in the chat or use your Google Doc to document your thoughts, and that will be added later on the Copano platform, and we'll show you how to access. So any potential? Okay, let me pick from some of our colleagues. Yes, there is a Bridget. Yes, Bridget.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's also promotes, in fact, it mobilizes the community and all other stakeholders in promoting CPD. So the framework is a roadmap to the mobilization of other stakeholders to be interested in education.
Wonderful. So that is a good process that can start from the planning of reviewing or developing or even reform to ensure that the public will support the new changes that you are suggesting. Any other one? Only one will be enough for now, and we'll continue our discussion. Yes?
Can we also say that it also has a potential of ensuring that standards are adhered to within the professional fraternity of teacher education?
Definitively. We know that most countries, they have their own standards to ensure that all teachers first understand and secondly implement those standards in their own teaching, even in their own learning, in their own supporting learning to the students is well implemented to avoid these double standards. Thank you for your contribution. So I'm not going to spend much time on the case studies. We shared already this information. We are going also to talk about it in our breakaway sessions. So we have, I suggested 5 breakaway case studies. The first one is in relation to the personal development plan, where the CPD support individual teachers at school level. We have another one, which is a CPD that is happening at school level, okay? All teachers have to go through that. Sometimes it's not compulsory, but it can be compulsory. Let's say something about teaching methods that all teachers need to be aware of. There is another one which may happen at the departmental level. Let's say the Department of Language or Languages within a school. It doesn't matter if it's secondary or primary school. So they can train teachers in that specific department. Another one is about at school level, where the school will need to find out if the teachers have the right standards. And there is another one that is implemented by many countries, which the CPD is at national level. And they do that to train teachers so that teachers can go to train in the regions, in the districts, or to train at school level, using what we call a cascade model. And I would like to find out if that model of cascade model is working in your country. So these are the things that are going to be discussed in the breakaway session. So another thing here we'll go very quickly is about competence-based curriculum implementation. What I'm saying, something very important, and we need to agree upon, all of us. Today and during the other week, we'll get an opportunity really to go deeper in this. Normally, a curriculum has 3 dimensions. In most cases, we call them the types of curriculum. The first one is what all of us have, which is a written or intended, sometimes we call it a national curriculum. That one is having all the content, even the aspiration of the country in terms of development and so on. So we have another type of curriculum, which is named the implemented curriculum. And in many instances, and that's what we need to do research to find out. And our association, African Curriculum Association, is looking at that. If schools are developing implemented curriculum that is aligned to the intended curriculum. So if there is a change in the intended curriculum, in the national curriculum, that has to inspire to feature into the implemented curriculum, where we have the instructions, we have the type of assessment we are going to give to our students. And I can give you an example. One of the very important documents is the scheme of work. So teachers, basically, they develop that for a term or for the entire year. So that document is very important. It shows what will happen during a term or a year. Assessments, outcomes, which represent attainment curriculum. And the school has to develop this curriculum where they will put all the attributes a student should acquire once they've gone through the implemented curriculum. And the district curriculum have to be connected. That's why the constructive alignment is very important. And if one of these curriculum is really not well set, things will start going wrong. Another thing, and this will be the end of my presentation, constructive alignment at course level. And that's where a lot of issues and the many teachers in different countries, they have a problem there. We need to identify the competence in every course, and we need to be able to identify the learning outcomes that are linked to that competence. We need to be able to identify the concept and the skills. We need to be able to identify the teaching strategies, teaching method, modes, tactics that are linked to this type of skills and the type of competence that the students have to develop, adding the type of learning activities. Here we are talking about formative assessment that have to take place. And lastly, and very critical, we need to get evidence that students have developed the competencies as we have them in the curriculum. And this is done through the summative assessment. So you remember last time we spoke about the structure of a competence. This is very important for us to understand in order to ensure the first column of our metrics is well understood. If we don't understand that one, all the other things won't work. And if we don't really detect what a student should learn and what they should be doing, and everything will go wrong as well. So this aspect is very important. And you remember last time we spoke about mastery learning is very critical in competency based curriculum implementation. And you remember last time I presented this type of visual. When you talk about a concept, students will see what you are talking about. So I will also provide more information about this kind of materials that we call mind map, conceptual materials that you can share with your students. And I spoke about Copano. A lot of things are happening, and please let us continue with the exchange and to support each other, and especially exchange materials. You will realize that the webinar 2 materials I shared with all of you so that you can start also adding things. This is what we call collaborative content development. And we need that one in Africa, since we know that learning materials are so expensive to acquire. But when we come together, we can develop those resources. I'm done with my session. Jacqueline, back to you.
Thank you, more privilege of listening to the Lesotho experience on teacher professional development for competency-based education. And we have Ms. Sekoteng Adam Malope, who is a senior education officer of the National Curriculum Development Center in Lesotho. So Madam Molapo, sorry, I'm mixing up your name. You're welcome to take us through your presentation. You may take the floor. Just wait for you not miss to utilize it. Any comments you may have, or even questions you may have from the presentation are welcome. So welcome, Ms. Molapo. Proceed with your presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for giving Lesotho the opportunity to share its experiences. Like you have said, my name is Sekoteng Molapo, Director at NCDC. I hope my screen is set.
Yes, we can view your screen clearly.
I got muted. Thank you so much. It says teacher professional development for competence-based education, the case of Lesotho. There is the background. We are saying Ministry of Education and Training in Lesotho developed the policy that was entitled Curriculum and Assessment Policy. That was in 2009. It was an education for individual and social development. This policy led to the review and development of primary and secondary education. And the policy that was developed advocated for an integrated approach to curriculum based on curriculum aspects and learning areas. Hello.
Can I please interrupt the presentation for a minute, for a second? Molapo, there's an echo, a very serious echo. It sounds as if there are two devices in one room and they are making noises, echoes that are distracting us, our attention from your presentation. Can you please check that? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I will definitely do that. Yes, of course, there were two devices. How is it now? Is the echo still there?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, ma'am, I can still hear it.
Hello. You hear me better now?
Yeah, maybe you may ask other people in the same room to stop the.
Stop using two gadgets at the same time.
It's completely on. Okay. I have tried to switch all the devices off Naomi. I don't know if I can hear me better now.
The echo is still on.
It's still on.
The echo is still on.
So it means there are two devices and the speakers are on. So only one speaker may still on, not all of them. Yeah. Please verify.
How is it now? Hello?
Yeah, it's a little bit, but
the echo is still there.
Yeah, the echo is still there.
Maybe maybe you logged in from different browsers at the same time.
Yeah.
I have only logged in on my laptop.
Yes,
I
but
don't
with
know the source of
different.
Yeah. Is the echo still there?
Yes.
Yeah, check if you didn't connect through another browser. Is it the only browser that is on?
Yes,
on your laptop?
It is. Yes, it is.
Oh.
Colleagues, can I also guide?
Continue.
Sometimes the echoes come when one of us has their microphone on, but when it is loud. So I'm going to request, if it's possible, all of us to mute the microphones and then leave the presenter alone to present.
Good.
That would be very good. Let's try that and see, because it looks like everything is okay from our side. So let us all mute our microphones and then we allow her to try one more time and see. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to believe the echo is no longer there. I was at the point where
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interfere. I think there's a possibility that you logged in twice in the same laptop and you are presenting two presentations in the same laptop. Maybe you need to sign out and log in again so that you are sure you have just logged in once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, the time.
Jacqueline, I was wondering, could we then move to the groups first and then we come back to her presentation?
Yeah.
Yvonne, that's a possibility. I was actually trying to write in the chat on the same, just so that we give her some time to be able to log off and then come back in. We will lose nothing.
Yes, that would really save us. We already lost 15 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I have checked and I haven't logged twice. Is the echo still there?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Check your mobile phone. Is your mobile phone next to you?
So, Madam Molapo, we are suggesting that probably as your colleagues assist you to reorganize the machine to reduce the echo, we can have the breakaways so that we just allow you to completely log off and then log back in. Within the next 20 minutes, then we should be able to allow you to get back to your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, we will be taken to our breakaway rooms. But before we go to those breakaway rooms, let's just see what we need to do. In each breakaway room, we shall have an ACA representative because we are the facilitators, but we shall also have an ICBA member. So you'll have the support of both the teams from ICBA and ACA. We intend to have 4 groups which are going to undertake the breakaway session. Once you get into your groupings, please quickly identify a leader who in most times will say will be the chair of the group. And then you'll also have a rapporteur, somebody who will take down the notes so that when we come back to plenary, then we can have the participants reporting. Now we shall take time to just remind you the questions that you are supposed to deal with. As you get into your groups, that will be done by the team leaders with the support of the ACA team. And you'll be told 5 minutes before the end of the breakaway session, which is about 20 minutes, so that you begin to wind up and you'll find yourselves being turned back into the main hall. Now we have the questions that are going to be undertaken, and I would just like to probably indicate to Maurice and our colleague who was to ensure that they are raised up in the breakaway rooms, but I'll read them quickly through as we are being taken to the breakaway rooms. And this is about the teacher professional development programs and how they are organized in our countries. And the first question is, are the programs organized by schools at their own convenience, or do they follow a calendar that is given by the ministries of education or any other educational structure in your country? And you'll give us how it works in terms of the process. And then we shall look at the 5 case studies that we had shared, and you look at which one would be suitable in the context of your country. Now, because we are coming from different countries and we have different experiences, we will have you answer these questions as individual countries. However, during presentation as a group, pick out one country, because we don't have the time. Pick out one country which you will use as part of that case study to give us how it works and the context in which it is working in that particular country. And then we shall have a question on what are your own views and beliefs, as well as understanding about the criteria that is useful and which can influence the successful implementation of the CBC. So we are asking you one question to deal with a group based on your countries. The second question is an individual question, but again, you will formulate your summary as a group for presentation. So at this point, don't worry, the questions are going to be put in the chat. Again, in your breakaway rooms, you'll have the questions so that you can easily get to them. So I just want to ask our ICBA colleague to send us to our breakaway rooms so that we can then begin the discussion immediately.
Yes, sorry, Jacqueline, can you indicate the time that it will take so they know how to manage their time?
Our time, I believe, is 35 minutes, but we have eaten up some time. And so I think we will give ourselves 25 minutes so that we can allow for our colleague to come back and be able to make her presentation, even as we prepare for the plenary. So ladies and gentlemen, our time is reduced to 25 minutes because of the challenge we have had and the presentation that we need to do ahead.
Yeah, so Jacqueline, just for an indication, those will be the team leader, also the ACA co-facilitator and ICBA. Let us use a timer to ensure we don't go beyond, because the system will kick us out before we conclude. So let us people discuss for 20 minutes, and when you have the remaining time, 5 minutes, let's indicate to the team leader to wrap up quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurice, for that caution. So let's just wait to be taken to our breakaway rooms. I think it will be in the next few minutes.
So, hello. Oh no.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we are back in the main discussion room. I note that people are still giving in their views in the different sessions, but let's try to get back on board quickly, just so that we can be able to present our findings or our discussions. So I'll just start by the room, starting with room 1. We'll give you 3 minutes to 5 minutes to take us through the 3 questions that we had. Try to pick a summary of the same, because the details, we can actually have them uploaded on our discussion forum so that we continue the discussion. So Breakaway Room 1, who was your rapporteur and who was your lead? Who is presenting?
The rapporteur, Nura, is presenting. Thank you, Nura.
Okay, Nura, proceed.
Thank you, Joyce. Okay, so for room 1, we had an exciting discussions, and I think one of the key things that came out for question 1 was that most of the countries that reported Malawi, for instance, Kenya and Uganda and Nigeria, reported that they operated the national CPD. And this is done normally on holidays. And then also, there's also the district level. The key things that came out for some of the countries, I'll mention, for instance, Malawi used communities to provide support. So communities provide the resources during the CPD process. And also for Kenya, what came out in that question was the issue of national trainers that are full employees at the country level, and they provide a lot of support during the cascade training and also the TCP, Teachers Continuous Professional Development. Uganda, the unique thing that came out from the meeting is that they use what they call tutors, and there's what they call the running team. For instance, they have leadership as one of the team under the TCPD that they provide to tutors, and that helps to actually help improve the CBC at that level. For Nigeria, and then for question 1B, case studies for all the countries that reported Malawi, Kenya. Malawi mentioned that they use all of the 5 case studies. For Nigeria, they use 2 case studies, that's the departmental led, and then the national case study, where the trainers and TOTs and the cascade model are being used. And Kenya mentioned that the reason why they picked only the national or case study E is that of resources. So they're looking at the resources available, and that is why they stick to that. But Malawi maybe will explain more why they have all of the 5, and maybe they have more resources to play around with. For question 2, finally, the countries that reported Nigeria, Uganda, Lesotho, and Kenya, but Nigeria, Uganda, and Kenya mentioned that they have the TCR, or the National Teacher Policy for Uganda. In Nigeria, they have the Teacher Registration Council, and Kenya, they have the National Cascade. So in these 3 countries, it's mandatory that teachers must go through this kind of professional development, and they are licensed before they practice. However, Lesotho mentioned that they don't have any institutionalized teacher continuous professional development. Thank you, and over. Joyce, you can add if I missed anything. Thank you.
That's fine. Jacqueline, we are good to go.
Sorry, I forgot I had muted myself. Thank you for the first group. We give opportunity to the second group. Members, if you have any questions on anything that the group has indicated, please lodge it in the chat. We will be able to pick it up. And if we have time, we'll go through at the end, but if not, then we will take it to the parking lot. So the lead for Breakaway Room 2 team, please take over and guide who is doing your presentation. Breakaway Room 2 was under Felicia. Felicia, you can help to let us know who was the lead and the rapporteur.
Our lead is Betty from Uganda, and then we have Anne from Kenya to report for us. Thank you.
We are group 4.
At some point, we're group 2, and at some point, we're group 4. So please, Betty and please present. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe to just for clarification, sorry, I didn't ask permission. Something happened, a technical small issue. Group 2 and group 4 suddenly become one group. So there were some confusions, really, we lost some time. And yeah, so, but we are, the report you are going to get will be for group 2 and group 4 together. Thank you.
Okay, in that case, we will take note of that and give you more time so that you have more time to speak, because then it means you had 2 groups in one. So Anne, and the lead, feel free to guide Anne as you wish. This is your floor.
Anne, please.
Okay, thank you, Betty. In our team, that is group 2 and 4, we were discussing question 1, and what we found out is that different countries are doing it differently, but a lot of similarities. We had Uganda, which has the CPDs every school holiday. They also have school-based programs, which are school specific, depending on the need of the school. And therefore, you'll find a lot of differences among the schools. Then they have the Ministry of Education, which uses the cascade model, where a few train, and then they go train others at the lower levels. In Kenya, again, we have the centralized organized model at the national level, who then go to train the trainer of trainers, and finally the teachers, which is usually done during the school holidays. We also have some online module programs where teachers will actually register and do the online modules organized by our Teacher Service Commission. We also have the school-based teacher support programs that specifically target science and mathematics teachers in specific counties. Then we have Malawi, which has 3 models, the cascade model, the super cluster model, and the school-based model. The cascade model is done once a year and targets the science and mathematics. The super clusters is organized by the schools and is done once per term. Then we have the school-based, which is also done once a term. Question number 2 is about the case studies. I think all the countries seemed to favor the national level because of the cost implications and the large number of teachers that our countries have. On the second question, regarding the criteria that influences successful implementation of a competency-based curriculum, several suggestions came forth. The first one being that there is need for political goodwill and commitment of our governments to implement the competency-based curriculum. There is also need to allocate adequate resources for effective implementation. ICT infrastructure is another key priority. Then the teacher professional development needs to be centralized for us to benefit much. Then there needs to be communication among all the different stakeholders so that all the changes that are envisaged in the implementation of the competency-based curriculum can be communicated to all the stakeholders for ownership. Then there is need for networking among the subject-based teachers and continuous peer support. And finally, there is need to enhance the practice of community of practice in and out of the classrooms among the teachers. So I think that's what we were able to discuss, but group members could add anything I may have forgotten. Thank you.
So there's opportunity for that group because you are 2 groups in one. Any additions that you may wish to make after?
Let me come in with a point which was raised. The fact that teachers in higher institutions are not prepared well to implement, for their teachers to come out and implement CBC. It appears as if they have a different curriculum, different pedagogy instructed to the trainees before they come out. And when they come out, They are not familiar with the CBC pedagogic content structure. So that is a challenge. Then they also then need to capture all teachers during the professional development. Sometimes the structure is such that some teachers are not captured. Now, when some teachers are excluded, what message are we communicating about the professional development? Probably it means that we think those teachers are not important in the implementation, and they also do it their way. And somebody also mentioned the practice of community of learners during professional development. And I think that is very, very important to enhance collaboration, cooperation, and also networking, so that all will know and be able to communicate the change and participate in the change expected to achieve a successful CBC. These are the points that were left out of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. So the team members, Felicia was the ACA lead in that team. Team members, do we have anything that we would wish to add since you are a very large team? Any member of that team who may wish to contribute?
I think Anne covered everything we discussed, unless the ones which were discussed by group 2 before they joined us, which maybe Felicia has already mentioned.
Okay. So then I'm not sure which group we are calling on. Is it group 3? Because now group 2 and 4 seems to have been in one. And yes, there may be a technical hitch, but the important thing is that we have the information we are looking for and we have got it. So our remaining group is group 3. Group 3, who is your lead and the rapporteur? Please take the floor.
Okay, my name is Ethel Sakite. I'm with World Reader. I was appointed a rapporteur.
Okay.
Yeah, our chair was Festus Longmate. He chaired the discussion. I think we also had very interesting conversations, and just like Anne had pointed out earlier on, although each country is unique, but then there were a lot of similarities as well. The only point of departure was that whereas Anne's group felt that the effectiveness of the TCPD was more at the national level, sorry, Festus, maybe you have to mute yourself. So whereas they felt that it was more effective at the national level because of cost and the large numbers of teachers, in our group, most of the countries felt that they want to encourage more school-based TCPD because then they can really identify the special needs, of the teachers and also link it to their promotion and their career. So I'll touch just briefly on the uniqueness from each country, and then we can then wrap it up. So we started off with Namibia, and Namibia organized most of their TCPD, both at the national level and also at the school levels. At the national level, they have a calendar of activities, they have different areas of training, they have dedicated time, and they also depend on the national level to provide them with facilitators to support them. From Namibia, we went on to Lesotho, and Lesotho also mentioned the fact that they also organize TCPD at 2 levels, both at the national level and also at the district level. They normally work, the ministry departments, organize, they sometimes curriculums department also does, inspectorate, and other councils also come in to support with the training. They mainly use workshop model, and they also get support with facilitators from the ministry. They also use the cascade model. So that is with Lesotho. Lesotho also mentioned that mainly they also use the cascade model. And so in terms of our question 2, they were looking at that case model actually represents what they do. But in terms of their views about what they think would influence successful implementation of TCPD, they believe the training at the school level was the best. They mentioned the fact that even in terms of the context within the country, they have the mountainous regions, they have the lowlands, there are different issues. And so if the thing is held at the national level, the uniqueness of the issues of the teacher is not really captured. And there are a lot of loopholes with the national level training. And so that was from Lesotho. Then we went on to Ghana, and Ghana shared with us the implementation of the standard-based curriculum and how they're using the universal design for learning approach, making sure that the needs of every learner in the classroom is considered. They also talk about the fact that TCPD is happening both at the pre-service level and in-service level, just to make sure that all the teachers are well trained on how to implement the standard-based curriculum. And in the case of Ghana, they also have trainings at the national level led by the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service. They also have universities that are supporting through providing sandwich courses to teachers. And yeah, we also pointed out that there's some thinking along the way around how we can also integrate technology into TCPD so that we can provide an alternative to the cascade model. Then we had Malawi also join us, although she was in before. We were lucky to have her, so she also shared her experience very quickly before we wrapped up. They also hold both national level as well as cluster level trainings. Mainly it's cascade model. And they also are encouraging in terms of beliefs, the fact that TCPD should be happening at the school level. So briefly, that was it from group 3. And colleagues, if I may have missed anything, please feel free to jump in before Jacqueline takes over. Thank you.
Tim, you have been called upon. We don't like moments of silence. So anybody who may want to add?
Thank you, Jackie. I think she covered everything that we discussed. I was in that group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, by and large, we can see that quite a number of us, basically we are all doing teacher professional development, but then there are those of us who are doing a blended model and those of us who are doing a singularized model. And I'm sure there's a lot we can learn from each other. Now, I would like to pose a question. I know we have a few more minutes, maybe 5 minutes before we call in our presenter for the day. I just want to pose a question that was not part of the question, but now that we've discussed all this, given all the status that we have given, would we say that the models we are using are effective for teacher continuous professional development? And if not, what are the gaps? Because these are some of the things that we need to think about and see how we solve them. And this is going to be a continuing conversation, but probably just in 5 minutes. Do we feel that the methods we have used have made us achieve the targets that we had for teacher professional development? This is open, so just raise up your hand and be able to say something. But if I find that you're completely not raising your hands, the teacher will call out 1 or 2 of us just to give us a thinking. But in the meantime, let's see what we may have to give. Yes, Taolane from Lesotho, start us off.
Thank you very much. With the cascade model that we are using in Lesotho, I think there is a gap because we usually invite 1 or 2 teachers from school, and with the assumption that they are going to teach other teachers at their respective schools. But sometimes I think it's not working out as efficiently as we want it to. So I think the best model would still be if we do it at school level. Thank you.
Thank you, great experience. Anybody else? With different, especially those of us who are doing the blended, how effective has it been? Nobody is raising their hand. So I am going to land on Festus from Ghana. Festus, are you with us?
Yes, can you please help me again with the question?
We're just looking at what is the level of effectiveness of whatever model of continuous professional development that is being effected in your country. Have we achieved the intentions of the CPD?
Yeah, I think for now we are making progress. It has started and progressively. In my view, we are going to get there.
Okay, so we feel we are doing well.
Yes.
Lastly, let's have, I was looking for somebody from Malawi. Can I get Malawi? Who is on board from Malawi? Not Bridget. Bridget, I think you have been a lead. We had somebody from, Leah, yes, please, Leah, let us know. How about your country?
Yes, of course, we have some shortfalls with the cascade model because it has actually been noted that the teachers who have been trained through the cascade model, sometimes they lack ownership of what they have actually acquired through the training. Or maybe in another way, you can say that they are not actually applying what they actually acquired through the training. So like nowadays in Malawi, we are emphasizing on the school-based because we think the contents of the training is actually sourced from themselves, so they can actually own and be able to practice in classroom. So I feel like the cascade model lacks the ownership among the teachers, but maybe if they do the school-based, they will actually do whatever they have acquired through that training. So
okay,
that's what I just wanted to comment.
All right. So thank you very much. And thank you everybody for all the contributions. Let's continue that conversation on Copano and even on the notepad that was created for us. At this moment, we would like to get back to Madam Molapo to give us her presentation. Madam Molapo, are you with us? We are hoping that you have been able
ma'am,
to.
I am.
Great,
I
and your
am.
sound is clear now. So please go ahead.
Sure. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can. So
Okay.
we'll give you about 10 to 12 minutes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think I'll be through by then. Okay, I was here at the background where I was indicating that the curriculum that we are implementing is a result of a framework which was piloted in 2012, and it is still in progress as we speak now. And now on the next slide is on teacher professional development. The policy having been developed, it is disseminated to all relevant stakeholders. This would include teachers, of course. We are using a cascade model as already indicated. Through this model, we have training of master trainings. These master trainers are officials from the Curriculum Development Center. They were trained by a consultant who was engaged in the policy development. Thereafter, we had training of trainers, which was composing of inspectorate, the schools that were piloting the new curriculum. Then the policy was disseminated to our Lesotho Distant Teaching Center because their role here is to adopt the curriculum that has already been developed so that it can be passed on to non-formal education consumers. Thereafter, there is a training of school teachers. The next one is on the types of professional development that the country offers. We have facilitation workshops which are done at national level. That is, the ministry organizes these workshops. We also have workshops that are held at center level where teachers are meet in clusters. These workshops are geared towards or focus on subject matter, on pedagogy, on assessment, and the use of teaching and learning materials. We also empower teachers through panel members who participate in the development of the teaching and learning material. Also, the teachers themselves have subject associations, particularly in the secondary schools. These teachers meet and discuss or learn best practice from one another. There is also the monitoring that is done by our inspectorate, our inspectors of school. Those are the types of teacher professional development that are common in our country here. Now, let's come to the challenges that we have encountered since the implementation of the new policy and since the implementation of the new curricula. There is a lack of a guiding legal framework. That is, we do not have a framework on teacher professional development. Therefore, in the absence of policies, in the absence of strategic plans, it is very difficult to account for the offered teacher professional development. It is also very difficult for us to schedule the activity. It means we only train, though the trainings are supposed to happen when schools close, but we only train provided there is need, but not that there is a specific training program that exists because there is no guiding framework. The issue of budgets is always a concern. We always rely on external funding. The training has already been mentioned. When we do cascade model, only one teacher represents a school, and that means a lot of teachers are left out. And also there is no clear direction as to who is responsible for teacher training development in Lesotho. There are times when institutions of higher learning think it is their responsibility. The government departments, on the other hand, think it is their responsibilities. Therefore, if we had a guiding framework, it would stipulate clearly who is responsible for the training of teachers. Our pre-service programs also are not aligned to the challenges or to the school curriculum that is being implemented. You find that a teacher who graduates comes to the school but is not able to manipulate the curriculum that is being offered at the school level. Teachers' voice, this is what teachers had to say. The teachers are saying it is at the discretion of the principal as to who attends the workshop. And you will find that in some cases, one particular teacher attends all workshops or all trainings that are offered. And that means some teachers are left aside. Our trainings are those of workshops, and we can all agree that the problem with workshops is the effectiveness of the workshop depends on the readiness of the presenter. If you have a good presenter, you will leave the workshop having learned something else. But if you come to a training where the presenter is not well prepared or is not good for you, it means you will come as you will leave the place as you were. There are no structured in-service programs in the country. That means training only responds to new policy developments. There are no incentives, e.g., there are no credit points or certification. Teachers just come to the workshops, and as a result, they do not even see the value of attending the workshops. If you have been to the workshop and you do not get anything, sometimes even your participation is somehow compromised. Another thing that is still a problem here, or what that the teachers indicated, is the fact that in Lesotho, we still have multi-grades. And the way we do our training is designed in such a way that as if all schools are the same. And yet we have situations where one teacher teaches more than one grade, or one teacher teaches where one teacher teaches more than one grade, and a situation where even if teachers are there is a teacher per each grade, you will find that issues of infrastructure is still a problem, where you will find that in one building, there are more than one classrooms. I think that is all, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Molapo, for that presentation. Colleagues, going through the presentation on the Lesotho experience, we can attest that the experiences that we have had are similar to what they have presented. And so I want to thank each one of us for the contributions we have made, but open up, we still have time. Are there any questions that we would want to deal with in this session as we wind up? Alongside, I know that we are filling in the link for the evaluation of the session has been shared by Yvonne and Bezawit. So let's take time and be doing that as we complete. But any questions or thoughts that we may have, and at this point, so that I do not choke myself, I would want to ask Maurice, my colleague, to help us do the wrap up of this session, even as we hand over to Ikba to finalize. Maurice, please help take over.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for a well-handled session. I can see today there were more participation and more voice from the participants, and we want really to continue with this new momentum, and we want to hear from all the participants the experiences, successes, also the challenges, because this will help us to see how, as members within that area, the 18 countries, how they can work together. And this is the community of practice that started last week, that we are going to continue for the next coming weeks and to make it very, very strong. We had good successes from different countries, but also challenges. And I always say that we always focus on challenges, and sometimes we forget about the good things that are happening in our countries. So we need to identify those things that work very well to sustain them, because if we don't sustain them, we may lose the achievements, and also to start thinking on those aspects that are challenging. And as professionals, I think we can help each other and make things very well. So all countries really provided very good insight what is happening in their countries. We also had about the challenges that they have, and the challenges looks almost the same. So there is one participant in the Copano discussion who said that one of the challenges they have when it comes to competency-based curriculum is they were not trained when they were at colleges. So they really have challenges on how to handle that. So I think in these weeks, we need to come up with a strategy on how to support those who have those kind of challenges. So my last word is about to continue sharing, because this is a community of practice. We want to hear from participants. The facilitators, our role is to bring things together, to bring some questions, sometimes to provoke you to talk, to share with us, but we really want to hear from you. And the good news, the community of practice will remain even after these webinars are over. So it means we need really in this coming 2 weeks that we are going to be together to really strengthen this, this way of communicating, sharing content as well. And we realize that all of you, you have access to webinar number 2, resource pack, and you can also add some content. So this is a participatory community of practice. If you have something to share, just add on the resource pack. We'll do the same for other webinars. We want at the end of this 4 weeks for this competency-based curriculum to get really very good resources, to get a big repository of resources that all countries, all the 18 countries can utilize, even beyond. So thank you very much for your contribution, and we remain with 2 minutes. Maybe we give the opportunity people to continue and finalize the post-evaluation that started a few minutes ago. Back to you.
Thank you, Maurice. I think to wrap up, we want to bring back Yvonne, who started us off. So Yvonne, I know people are filling in the evaluation, but kindly just take it up to wrap up the session for us.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, Felicia, for all the contributions today. I just wanted to bring to the team's attention the fact that we are listening. With the feedback that we are giving you, we're asking you to give us. We do put it into account. This is the feedback that we got, some of the feedback that we got from last week's session. And some of you said that you need more teacher professional development, more training on teacher professional development, how it can be done, and what costs and how to cover more teachers, and how it can be done continuously. I think this is the session that we have had today. So whenever we ask you for what else do you think we can give, we can talk about, please, we do take it seriously. I hope you will also take it with the seriousness that it deserves, so that we know how to go forward. This is all for your own benefit. We're only here to help each other learn. Another person also said that we did a presentation of the best practice in teacher development. And I think that one we also covered. We brought in Lesotho just to share with us what they have, how they have gone about it, and the successes also. And also we get to learn even the challenges. It's that one help us also to avoid challenges even as we go back to our own countries to implement teacher development, teacher professional development. And then they also have ideas on how best to design teacher in-service programs. So I'm sure during the discussions, even especially in our breakaway sessions, I'm sure we've been able to share how we develop or how we design the teacher in-service programs, and how it's possible to, what is working and probably what is also not working, and areas that we can improve on. So I just want to encourage all of us to continue taking the survey. Please give us honest feedback so that going forward, we'll be able to touch into issues that are actually pertinent to you and to your country, so that we don't just go looking in the dark. We really, really need your advice and your guidance on what else we can do. And that said, we do have our lead, Madam Victoria. I'm sure you have not heard her voice. So Victoria, kindly just say something to the team before we close as they continue with the survey.
I think Yvonne, she's out because of the power.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. That's very unfortunate. We also have our team lead, Marianne. Maybe if you have a word or two for the participants.
Yes, thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you very much to the team from ACA, the African Curriculum Association, for today. And thank you most especially to all the team leaders in the group discussions. Really heard some really interesting points coming through there. And thank you to Ms. Sekatsomo for the wonderful presentation from Lesotho. I think in the last 4 minutes, I would just like to ask if there's any questions that people still have. We have this space today, and it would be great to turn it back over to participants for any final comments, any final reflections, any final questions to Lesotho, to ACA, to each other. So I pass it back over to you for the remaining 4 minutes. You can raise your hands and then unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Osman, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have observed that from the sharing we have had, most of us use the cascade model. But we seem to have a gap when it comes to cascading to school level. And that's why we were able to observe that quite a number of teachers are waiting for their turn to be trained by the centrally organized sessions. Maybe we need to find a strategy on how best to move that training effectively to the school level. We formalize that strategy so that at the end of the last stage of the cascade, before it moves to the school level, we have a formalized way that the schools can take over and train the rest of the teachers who are not able to attend the centrally organized sessions. Thank you.
Marianne, there's a question on the chat by Lola.
Yes, I see that, Jacqueline. In fact, I'm wondering if there's a member from the ACA team who would like to address Osman's point about wanting to move towards school-based continuous professional development for teachers, and also connect that to Lola's question about how can we encourage them to appreciate school-based CPD, because many of them prefer to get school or institutional certificates. Is there a member from the ACA team who would like to address this point?
Marianne, if I'm allowed, I could. I know we don't have much time. The question that has been raised is very pertinent because the action happens at the classroom level. And yes, indeed, while we may have structures that are moving from the national level, it's important to consider where the action is. And linking it up to what Lola has indicated, we then need to start probably enhancing the school-based professional development, which is going to encourage peer mentorship, peer coaching amongst the teachers, even within themselves. And we actually benefit from that as a method of understanding how best we can do teacher professional development, so that it is actually a bottom-up. When we do that, I guess we'll get a lot more information on the gaps where the teachers are, because there are times when we assume that we have covered all the bases, and even as we do the professional development, you find that we really don't get to the heart of what the teacher requires, especially when you're dealing with challenging areas. One of the roles that we had given for CPD was to deal with challenging subjects, for example. So I think these are things that as we discuss through, we can learn and see what are the modes, solutions that we can get on the same. Thank you. Geoffrey, probably if he's allowed to just put in Geoffrey Shakwa.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. I just want to share the Namibian example quickly. Namibia, we have realized that indeed professional development should take place at the school level. It should be planned based on the identified needs of teachers. Therefore, what we've done at the national level having realized the importance of site-based professional development, we went throughout the country training school principals, heads of departments, and teachers on how to organize site-based professional development. So we established school-based continuing professional development committees that initiates this process by identifying the needs of the teachers in different subjects, and then setting forth to organize learning, which is actually directed by the teachers themselves. Some of the teachers locally, actually in this process, end up becoming facilitators who actually conduct training for their colleagues. Sometimes they will identify an external facilitator who can be brought into the school if there's no expertise among the teachers themselves. We have seen beginning fruits of this kind of arrangement that teachers really take part into this. The issue of putting more premium on certificates is being downplayed now to putting more emphasis on skills, sharpening of the knowledge, so that we can equip ourselves more as teachers with pedagogical skills, how to use technology effectively, and also how to support student learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacqueline. There's one more question in the chat box. I don't know whether you will take it or we can compile and share with the participants later. There's a question from Olive Budia.
Yes, I have seen the question from Olive. I was actually trying to answer in the chat, but I think she's raised a very pertinent issue, considering that funding comes from the governments often. The private schools are not taken care of. Yes, so she's right. We need to think in our different countries, how do we handle the private schools, because they are really a growing team. Some of them are really many. Thank you, Olive, for that, raising that question.
Welcome.
So Marianne, we take it back to you to wrap up.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I just want to say thank you again for everyone for being here. And I just turned it back over to my team member, Yvonne, for the closing, and Bezuit for the music at the end. And thank you so much to the excellent discussions we had today. Thank you to the members of the community of practice. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Back over to you, Yvonne, for any closing words.
Thank you, Marianne. Let me just take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone for attending and for participating actively. We really enjoyed having you here, and we also have learned a lot personally being an educator. I believe most of us have also learned a lot. We look forward to seeing you in the next session. And please continue giving us feedback. So far, we have received nine people have responded. Please, it only takes about 5 minutes to fill in that survey form. Please give us your feedback so that we'll be able to serve you better. We are here to serve you. Thank you very much. And please let us continue as Bezuit is going to give us just some African music to listen to as we continue filling up those surveys. And you have a good evening and a good day to those of us who are in the US and elsewhere. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.